Well, hello, and welcome, everyone. Great to have each and every one of you here with us today. Today is November 8th, 2022. This is episode 181, and today we're going to take a look at trait number 1. So we're going to be taking a look at the transformational creative self-expression. So we have now moved from purpose fulfilled through bonding to purpose fulfilled through transformation. And trait 1 is the first trait that really kicks off this season, if you will, of transformation. Now, before we get started, let's say hello to our panel. Let's start with Shelley. Hello, Shelley. Welcome, welcome.
Hello. Glad I could make it today. Great to be here with you all.
Yes, great to have you, Shelley. And Excel has joined us. Excel is an evaluator, so it's great to have an evaluator on board. So welcome.
Well, thank you for the invitation. Happy to be here.
Excellent. And I have several people from my foundation course that are joining us today that are going to be a part of our panel as well. So Blythe and Lorraine, really great to have you here, as well as our regulars, Lori and Rebecca. Welcome, Tanya and Romy, as well as everyone else who is joining us now live in our Zoom room. And again, well, welcome to everyone who is live on Facebook, and a huge welcome to you as well if you're watching via Facebook. So hello and welcome. Great to have you on board. So let's jump in to taking a look at this transformational creative self-expression. And as we take a look at it again, we are moving, as we move into November, this creativity rooted in unique direction. And again, if we take a look at what November is all about, it is an alertness to our own self-expression, allowing us to break through, to own our own personal power as well as focus. And so again, purpose is fulfilled through transformation. And today is a very interesting day. Today we had again, we talked about this last week. We had this theme moving into transformation and moving into trait 1 that it moved in on November 5th. Today is the midterm elections here in the United States. So it's November 8th, and we also just had a total lunar eclipse as well. So it's quite amazing, all of the trait 1s and trait 2s that we have in the design. So anyone born on this day, again, just imagine this, having trait 2 in your design, the driver in your design 6 times, and also trait 1, creative self-expression within your design 4 times. So this is a very creative day. I think this is also, I sense sort of a new direction coming as well. You can see that if we take a look at the 1 and the 2, if we take a look at the life force theme of the 1 and the 2, it is direction. It's all about direction. So the traits of direction, which are the 1, the 2, the 13, and the 7, which are all part of identity and direction, are all activated today, especially if you take a look at the unconscious side. So it feels like a shift in direction. It feels like people are awakening to their individuality and their own creative self-expression, because that's where we're moving towards in 2027. And given this, and especially because we have an evaluator here with us today, I would love to hear your take on this, Excel.
Well, it's very interesting to see this, and I wish we had the image of how this looks in the mandala, because what are we focused on? And when you see which gates the moon has hit in the past 18 hours, probably into the next other 18 hours, you see that the whole individual circuit is being hit. So in the morning or sometime yesterday evening, we had the design of the thinker. And now we're having the design of knowing. And then we're going to have the 8, 1 connected as well. And all these are really, this is happening on a global scale. everybody is getting access to this. And I know several people in other realms, like in astrology, for example, have a lot of things to say about the lunar eclipse. But given what I'm seeing here, and that the whole world has this, is like, what are we getting in touch with in the past, time frame from, I'm going to call it 36 hours or so. We're in the middle of it right now. And it's very telling, because there is an awareness that we're getting. And the question is, what do we do with it?
Any recommendations?
Well, because we're here and we do know how to use our decision-making strategy, it's like it would be something that would have to be taken with that. It's like this new awareness is like, are you responding to something? How are you feeling in terms of what's coming to you? Are you waiting? And if you're an advisor, are you also aware of how you're being recognized? Because possibly you're not. And so I think there's something here for everyone. I don't know. The best recommendation would be to get really clear is, are you following your decision-making strategy? Do you know what your decision-making strategy is? First of all, are you clear on what that looks like on a day-to-day basis for you? And second, are you following that? And if you're not, well, here's an invitation for you to do it. Here's something for you to respond to, because this is what I understand. We're getting information for us to really be prepared into the time that we're going through. So this is really a clear moment where we can tune into that. And since you're here and you're part of this and you're listening to this, it's like, you know what this means. It's like, this is a real invitation for you to go into that new direction. And that new direction is really being you as an individual and leaving the space that we're leaving, that we've spoken about before in terms of the era of planning into the era of the individual. Uh-oh, something happened. I don't see Karen, and I don't hear you, Shelley.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
Karen
there you are.
might have lost her. Sorry about that, you guys. Karen might have lost her connection to her internet. And while I give her a few minutes to pop back in, here she comes. Oh, there you are. You're muted. Oh, I'll get her to share the PowerPoint with me so I can keep going if she gets lost again. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just chat a little bit because everything you've talked about, Excel, brought up for me. If people can remember what the chart looks like, we were just in the OC16 class and looking at how much the large organization of the WA affects all of us. And I noticed in the picture that Karen had down on the lower left there that the 60 was also there. And I know we've just recently transitioned out of the 60, but that 60 was all about mutative change and all about bringing that change. And the connection between bringing that change and the new direction is pretty tightly connected. So knowing that this change is coming and that the 60 kind of is the, it's either there's nothing happening, and all of a sudden something's happening. There's new limitations or acceptance is one of the themes we talked about much earlier in the year. But that 60 driving the change, that mutative pulse that drives the change that's moving us forward into this whole new direction, is kind of like sending us into this our own personal direction. And I love what you said, Excel, about just people. What became really apparent to me in doing that course this morning, especially, and probably over the last couple of weeks, is really paying attention to just exactly how much we are conditioned by the WA, or all of these underlying energy dynamics that are going on always, and that the only thing that helps us actually be aware of and get to do what's really correct for us is, as you said, is following our decision-making strategy and allowing ourselves to really align with who we are. And that is not only the thing that protects us and gets us into the correct situation, it's also the thing that allows us to actually thrive and take advantage of whatever the dynamics are that are happening around us. So being able to really be focused is so focused this week on the one and the two, the two of the new direction, the new vision for yourself, for where we're going, and then being able to creatively express yourself. It's fantastic that this is such a big part of the bigger program that's running right now, is helping all of us make this transition and helping us all get really in line with what we really are aligned and here to do. So are you here again, Karen? Yeah, I think Karen's really struggling with her internet connection today, and I'll see if she emailed me the PowerPoint so that we could carry on. Let's see here. Sorry, you guys. Thanks for your patience. Mm-hmm.
Are you there, Shelley?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, this is really interesting because I know we lost Karen, and I kept talking to you, and then and this has happened in the last couple of days. I live in Los Angeles, and we usually don't have rain. We also usually don't have power outages, and my power went out. And so now the only reason I'm still talking to you is because I was on my phone. If I had been on my computer, that wouldn't have worked. And I got back a cellular connection. So it's one of these things that makes you curious, right? Because I don't think mobile panelists.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, so now I've lost all of you. Oh my goodness. This is really very interesting. We're having great technical glitches today in this day that is right after a big lunar eclipse, and with all this focus on self-expression, we're having trouble expressing ourselves. I'm glad you guys can hear the magic carpet ride, Tanya. Yes, we're working on this, and I don't have Karen's slides, but we'll just give them some time to see if Ixel and Karen can come back. Here we go. We'll try again. This is just amazing to witness, isn't it? Just how much we get affected and impacted by the background frequencies going on. Like this wasn't happening yesterday, but today it's really quite intense and bizarre. There we go. Here's Karen. Try one more time. There you go. You're muted, Karen.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
I've been.
Oh my gosh. We were just saying, both you and Ixel kept popping in and out, but Ixel was saying there's big storms and she's lost her power. She's on cell. And we've just been chatting all about the 60 and the transformation and the mutative pulse and how much we're all impacted by the wall of all this change.
Yes.
Do you want to send me your anyways, well, hopefully you're hearing good, but can you fire off the presentation to me just in case you fall off?
I just
did.
Oh,
excellent. Great. Okay, great. Oh, I don't have
thanks for holding down the fort.
No worries.
Well, everything
having a great conversation
is happening. Oh my goodness. And it's saying,
oh my goodness.
Is she gone again?
She's frozen again, and I don't see the presentation either, though. She usually emails it to me.
Tanya says, we are
We're
not
not
in Kansas anymore. Well, maybe some of our classmates that are here would like to share while we get Karen back.
Sure.
If you're seeing anything out there.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Let's see, I can promote a few people. Are you back, Karen? No. Yeah, just let me know who wants to speak. Put your hands up and I can promote you to panelists. Is there anything anybody would like to share about this new direction and the self-expression that we're in? Okay, Lorraine, here, let me move you up. I'll promote you to panelists. There we go. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Crazy.
We can.
Okay.
All right,
That's
coming
right.
in from the Midwest here in Minnesota. I hope my connection stays strong too. But there's something in the air.
Yeah.
I in witnessing the one trait, I do not have this trait. I am a manifester with an open to identity and direction. But I do have I want to say 4 of my immediate family. 3 of my children and my husband have the one. So there's definitely a lot of creativity I'm noticing buzzing around the house. So my husband is inspired to redo our formal dining room, and he's an artist, and he's showing me all kinds of prints that he's creating himself to put on the walls, and they're very creative. Some of them I'm like, no, that's not gonna work, honey. Like, it's too busy. And some of them are like, no, but the creative expression is definitely there. In my eldest daughter's room, I have 4 children, by the way. In my eldest daughter's room, who has this unconscious, and she is she's 11. She got inspired to organize and recreate a dresser in her room. And I saw her so meticulously placing things and just being completely absorbed in her creative process of how she wanted her bedroom to look, and rearrange the room and move the bed somewhere else. And so I'm definitely seeing the energy in the environment of the creative self-expression, which I think is a magnificent trait in all its glory. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Oh, thanks so much,
I
Lorraine.
love that, really, Lorraine. Sorry, and I just wanted to point something out. We are actually having to be creative on the fly on this call. And that story reminded me of something about this trait, number 1, which is really, really important for anyone that has it in their design, or if you don't have it, if you witness it in others, because this is really the key about where we're moving into. Individual creativity is unique. It's not comparable to other things. And in the era of planning, we have been following patterns, and those patterns have affected the community that we're involved with. And so there's a lot of measuring and comparing and contrasting to what other people are doing. And when there is that kind of following a pattern, and this is part of what the tribe is, and I know we don't call it that in BG5, and I am sorry because I'm still not 100% on the language. But you remind me what the word is, Lauren? Shelley?
WA, or
okay, so
our group, our business group, yeah,
our business group, yes.
Yeah, group.
So when we're doing that, there is a lot of focus on who is the best, and so there has to be a way to compare. But this is the one is not like that. So you cannot be the best, but you can be unique, and that has no comparison. And so that is a really important point, because I see people that are unique trying to compare themselves to others. And this is where the mental trip gets in the way, instead of really following your decision-making strategy. And when we're witnessing others that have trait 1, share what they do and their creativity. Not to say, but that doesn't look like what others do, because that is not the way that trait works. And so I just wanted to point that out as well.
That's amazing. We've lost Karen again. So thanks for pointing that out, Ixo, because that's really brilliant. And that's kind of what I've been noticing lately too, is we're this slow coming out of that place where we've been, the background frequency is around planning and control, and we can feel it loosening and kind of starting to rumble and fall apart, and providing sort of cracks or spaces for people to be able to just flourish, come through and show up as their own unique selves. And I too have several family members with this trait, and it's really amazing to watch. And I'm going to let Karen talk while she's here. She can do the slide, and then if we have to be creative and talk some more when she falls off again, we'll do that. You're muted though right now, Karen.
Wow, this has been quite a ride. So I do now have you on my phone, but I'm just not quite sure the audio piece. So
it sounds good. We can hear you.
Okay, great. Excellent.
Oh, except you keep freezing.
Ixo also talk about uniqueness as well. And is my
So now that she's on her cell phone, the fact that she's sharing the screen and that she's talking, there's not enough bandwidth, which is why we can't hear her. And so this is another experience of going with, well, let's get creative here, Shelley. Is there anyone, I don't know, did you get the slides so you can share them?
I've got the slides. Yeah, I have the slides. I'm pulling them up. So you feel free to talk for a second until I get the slides.
Okay. Because I think we could support Karen in doing the slide and really sharing with others who don't know what trait 1 is. And I know that Karen was starting to share what this is. And we'll go through it, and then we'll have more of a discussion, because it's really about, is this in your design or not? And if it's in someone else's that you might know, how does it actually work when you have it, and when you don't, and when you're connected to it?
All right.
There you go. So I'm going to let you do the slides, please.
Great. You can see my screen and everything's okay. There we go. Karen's here. So I'll just do the slideshow, Karen, and you can speak as you can. You're muted right now, though. Yeah. But Ixo was saying, with your being on the cell phone, you might not have enough bandwidth to do both. So I'll do this and you talk. Are you there still?
Yes. Go to the next one. There we go. Sorry about that, everyone. So we're taking a look at, again, it's been a great discussion too. I've been able to kind of hear bits and pieces of it as I've been going in and out of being able to be present here. And I love how we are being creative in continuing to move this forward. And so action. And so what's interesting is, again, we're having a live demonstration of how that actually works. And it's the drive and the deep need to focus.
Oops. Oh. Okay, I'll jump in again. So a drive and a deep need to focus on expressing yourself in unique and creative ways. And when you're happily absorbed in doing your own thing, you're not aware that you're attracting the attention of others. So as you exemplify these new ways of expressing your authentic self, you actually empower others to consider new perspectives or ways of being in the world. So just simply because this is so individual, and the more you can align with who you are as an individual, the more you can just get caught up in what you find allows you to express your uniqueness, actually empowers others to find their own voice and their own way of being creative as well. You might even change their creative direction just by your creativity inspiring others by your example. For your impact to be properly felt, though, it must be seen or heard to be appreciated and invited. So you can express yourself, but if you're not expressing yourself to anyone else, it kind of it's lost. So to me, this speaks to the need for all of us to really tap into and really come to know who we really are, so that we can express ourselves in our own unique way. And like, I love what you said, Excel, earlier about how we've been in this place where everything's been so competitive as a means for controlling and for survival, maybe, I'm not sure, but that we felt that, well, in the WA and even the small group dynamics are competitive by nature. So just feeling the need to be first or be the best may have been what helped us grow and get to this place. But now we're at this place where we're all here now. We've got our structures in place that we need to survive. And now we can almost rest a bit or step back and stop being so conditioned and allow our own true natures to come forward and allow us each to contribute our own unique individuality to the space we're in.
And I'd love to add something about that.
Yes.
Because with this shift, we're talking about, this is a moment in time where we're getting access to information that will help us move forward. And in this room, we've been discussing the shift that's happening in 2027, where we are moving into the era of the individual. So recognizing that this is the key, because we are here, as Karen was saying earlier in class today, we are a piece of a puzzle, and we're all trying to create this puzzle, but we have to be that piece that we are. I can't try to be your piece. And I also can't try to fit myself in a place that doesn't fit for me or where I don't fit. And this is the recognition that in the era of planning, it didn't matter, because we were having bargains, because we were making these trades. I'm going to call them trades, but it's really the bargains that we made, where it didn't matter whether I fit in or whether it was my place or whether I was being myself. If I got a paycheck, and I would do what you told me, even if I didn't fit in, even if I couldn't express myself, but that will no longer be working. And this shift that's going to happen, most people on this planet will feel it, but won't know what's happening. And here we, as unique individuals that are learning this information, that are practicing this information, that are embodying this information, that are looking to become our own individual self, we will be moving into this era in a way that others will witness and will say, oh, that is totally different. How can I do that? And so this is the time we sort of have it feels like we have we're racing, we're starting the race early from other people. And the fact that we're here and that we know this, it's such a leg up on the race. And you know, like we're all racing our own race, but it just feels like it's really, we should really be grateful for this opportunity and take it, because we know what we have. It's such a gift.
Yes. Thank you so much. So that's so well said. And you're absolutely right. And that it's like we've got this sneak preview. We can see that what's coming. And as the early adopters, we're able to, and I think that's all intentional too. Those of us that are early adopters are here on purpose at this time to learn this information sooner than everyone else, so that we can help others as they, maybe struggle to make this change that's going to be happening in the next 5 years here. Excuse me. So, is there anybody else who wants to share about who has either the one in your design? Rebecca, you've got your hand up. Let me see if I can find you again now. Hang on. I lost my controls here. Participants. Here we go, Rebecca. There you go. You have so many of the traits we talk about, Rebecca. It's great to have you here. Tell us what you've noticed with this trait.
Okay, let's try that.
Okay.
One of the things that came up today is I do have this defined. Somebody was saying that kind of one of the lessons over the last couple of years has been learning to live in our authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept thinking, well, I feel like I have been, but then what I really realized is one of the things I traded was my authenticity is my health over money. In this case, it was that choice. And I don't regret it for a second, even though like financially it's really stretched at the moment. But it's like, because on a very, very deep level, I know that without my health, I have nothing. So it doesn't really matter if I don't have that. So I'm not sure how that fits in with today, but it does. And then, and then I have, I've been divorced now for about 5 years. And I've been in a relationship with somebody in West Virginia. I swear it was probably on the 1-1, which is what my definition is. I said, by the way, I said, I'd be interested. I have been in all these relationships, and I have not in long-term relationships, two marriages that lasted almost 20 years each. And now that I've been alone for a long time, I said to him, it was just the feeling. It was like, I said to him, if you're interested, I would consider living with you. And I'm going, but what was interesting is as this talk is going on today, I realized, oh my God, I didn't realize how true that was for me. So kind of the reality. And I don't really know how that all fits in, but I don't know, authenticity, just, I don't know, being honest, the artist, having ideas. Because I also like this part because it's like the artist and then the agent or the art gallery. So
with the 1-8.
Yeah, the 1-8. Yeah. So anyway, I don't really know how that all fits in with it, but those are kind of really strong. Those two events have kind of come in strongly today.
Well, that's great. Thanks for that. And I can see that what you're pointing out is that how important this is for our own physical health to be ourselves, and that when we're not aligned with who we really are, we really can make ourselves sick, or really, certainly not allow ourselves to thrive, let alone maybe even survive if we're really not being ourselves. And we may be, I don't know if this is a thing, this just came to me too, but perhaps even as we get closer to 2027, that it may get to the point where it's almost, if you're not being yourself, you may end up getting, just less and less empowered, for sure, as we get closer to 2027. So this is the opportunity to, to really align and have our own creative self-expression, and recognize permission to do that, permission to just be yourself. And the other thing you pointed out, Rebecca, is that taking the chance. Normally in the past, we've been connected to what Ixo was also talking about, that just working for a paycheck with the bargain in place, and that's no longer going to work. And that it does feel risky to step away from something we've always done, that we've been conditioned to think is the only way to do things. But the more that we can align with ourselves and really honor ourselves, it might take a little bit of time. It might be uncomfortable for a little while. That I've lived this too, that once I did accept who I am and just started following my own inner guidance, my own decision-making strategy, at first it was a scary thing, but it gets easier and easier, and is now the only way that I can live. I cannot go back to doing things that aren't in line with who I am. It just doesn't work anymore. So thanks. Iso, did you have something to add to that?
I did.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
Oh,
so let's
sorry.
move on to the next slide. Don't worry. Open head here.
It'll come back. Yeah, mine too. I almost lost the connection. So let's look at the other side of this, is how you get affected when you're connected. So this is when you've got, this is the shadow of trait 1. So this is when you don't have the 1, but you have the 8 on the other side, which the 8 is, like Rebecca mentioned, she's got the full strength. This full strength is the PR, and the 1 in a small team or small group is also the sales. So the shadow of trait 1 is the lack of innovative creativity. So the question might be is, are you always searching for creative inspiration? And do you wish you were more creative, or you feel like you're just not creative and you want to be creative? The problem is you want to create your own work to promote, but you get frustrated because you can't find the creative inspiration that you seek. You may beat yourself up for not being creative. You get upset when you don't have anything to promote or a way to contribute. The 8 is also about contribution. You're drawn to what's novel and innovative and may even attract other people's attention to it, but you might feel as if you lack the creative means of your own self-expression. So the solution is your role is not as your role is as the agent, not the artist. You're designed to promote the new, innovative, and creative work of others. So this is a bit of what Rebecca, this is why you said it, Rebecca. This is the other side of what we're looking at today. I'm just going to click. There might be one more paragraph here. Nope. Let me go back.
So I could share about this because I do have trait 8 as my grounding balance, and this is my conscious grounding balance. So I have the 8 and the 14, but not the 1 and the 2. However, I have had a connection through the nodes, because if you remember, if you go way back at the beginning of where we are, the 1 is, I believe, Karen said in the design right now 4 times. Yes. So it's not just being highlighted with 70% of what information we get. It's being highlighted a lot more. And so is trait 2. And so when we do have a trait that is connected so many times, there's really a focus on it. And I've been having it, as I said, through the nodes. And so I've become very aware of it. And of course, I'm aware of the 1 every time the moon goes through it. So when I get the 8-1, it's kind of interesting. But I don't know if you've noticed that when I speak, it's not really about, I can't speak about something that I do. It's really hard because I'm not really the artist. But I can definitely highlight and point out what others are doing or what is happening outside, because that is the 8. That is what I know. And so it's interesting to witness because I have seen this in terms of watching people who are creative and having them try to be the ones that promote themselves and try to get the word out, when that doesn't necessarily work. Like if you're the person that has that creativity, that's your focus. Now, if you have the whole strength, that's a different story, right? And so if you do have your body graph, your chart, your BG5 chart in front of you, check to see whether you have the 1. And if you don't have the 1, know that you do have the 1 at the moment, because everyone in the world has it. So notice how you're feeling if you do have the 8, but it's getting hooked up through all the 1s. And how is this making you feel? Because this is why knowing what your decision-making strategy is so important, because you can think that something has shifted for you when it really hasn't, when it's really been something that you're conditioning, which is why we do these calls in order for people to know this is the weather. If you're following the weather exactly without awareness, you might be feeling like now you can be the artist when you're really just the agent. And you could start making a decision from your mind because you feel empowered in that way, and it's going to go away in a few days. And so if you didn't make your decision through your decision-making strategy, you could be setting yourself up to take actions that you wouldn't otherwise. And so this is why it's so important to be aware of how this affects us on a day-to-day basis. And the only way to really become ourselves and to be able to express our own creativity and individuality is by following our decision-making strategy.
That's fantastic, Excel. Thank you so much for pointing all of that out. And it's so true. And, we can feel the effects of the 1 and the 2, especially in these next week or so. And given that they're showing up so many times, we can feel that much more supported. And as you mentioned, yes, it is so important to realize what's happening so that you don't go off and make decisions and quit your job and become an artist, because for these 4 days, you're feeling really creative. These are when you don't actually have a trait defined in your design, it doesn't mean you don't have it. It means you just don't have it consistently, because it will show up if you're with somebody who's got it, or it is in the background frequency that's happening. So thanks so much for that, Ixel. And Rebecca, you had something more to add?
Yeah, let me plug in. Hold on a sec.
And as Lorraine said, yes, you can amplify it if you don't have the trait, excuse me, when you're around others that have it. You can actually amplify it. So you may be more sensitive to it and notice it more. Like Ixel was saying, you really notice it. And I love, Ixel, that the evaluator's entire decision-making process is based on experiencing every one of the traits through the lunar cycle and really noticing how things show up in that way of really paying attention and becoming really aware of it on a daily basis. So Rebecca.
Yes. I just, when you were saying, don't quit your job and become the artist. But what I really realized is, for me, the artist, there's 1,000 ways to be an artist. I thought there was, the classical ways, theater, poetry, writing, all those things, but there's 1,000 ways to be an artist. And, anyway, so I just wanted to say that, because I used to be really caught in that. Trap.
Yes, being creativity shows up in many ways, like Ixel mentioned earlier too, that we had to get creative about how to deliver this session today. So creativity is different, I think, than artistry. Artistry comes as a result of practicing a skill or a talent over and over again, where creativity is just the way we express ourselves, the way we put those pieces together, the way we uniquely see things, the way we uniquely want to even put things forward. So, and I love that you mentioned that, because a lot of people do think they're not creative. And I like to say to people, everyone has the ability to be creative, but we get conditioned, or we've been conditioned to think that, oh, you're not an artist. Again, back to what Ixel was saying, that's that sort of competitive, oh, you're not the best, or you're not an artist that can be seen on the world stage, so you're not an artist. But that isn't true. Everyone has this capability in them. And it's about being able to allow yourself, give yourself permission to just express yourself in whatever way aligns you with yourself, and following your decision-making strategy is the way to help you know what's correct for you. That over time, as you're continually doing just what's correct for you, what makes you feel good and what aligns with you, you automatically then are expressing who you are. So I think this is awesome to have this trait in the background supporting all of us right now to see it.
I'd love to say something about that, because I think This is going back to the point you made earlier, that we all have this, except we might not have it consistently if it's not in our chart, right? Life is creative. We are life. So our lives are really here to express our own creativity. And when we are conditioned out of who we are, because we didn't know this information, there are other forces around us that make us do things, and then we have to, as adults, come back in alignment. there is a way that even accountants can be creative in terms of how they express their own selfhood, is the word that's coming to mind. And in business, it's the same thing. So when you are being yourself, your life will express your creativity in all the different facets that it is. Because this is the one point in terms of comparison. We can't compare our lives to other people. That is not what we're here for. We're here to commune with each other. We're here to share our very unique perspectives of what is it like to be me, from my perspective, being who I am, having had the experiences that I've had, because there's something in there possibly for you. And so the whole reason why we stress knowing what your decision-making strategy is, and maybe some of you that are listening don't know yet what it is, you could find your chart and it will let you know. But once you know what you, who you really are, because this is what this information helps us to separate what we think we are versus what we actually are, and how we can navigate, that allows us to really express ourselves in a very unique and special way. And that's the key point that I want to go back to, and I've mentioned it already, is there is no comparison. Once we're unique, we're unique. And it's hard to compare unique things because each one is unique. And so Ra always says, love yourself. Mm-hmm. And this is the one thing that he always mentioned, that it was really hard to teach this information and to talk to other people about this because of the self-hatred he witnessed. Mm. And it's time for us to get away from that, because when we really recognize who we are and how our own uniqueness is different and still lovely, it doesn't matter how others think about us if we know who we are and we can be ourselves regardless of anything. Because that's really what we're here to do. Because once you can really be yourself in your own unique creativity, then you can share your unique perspective with others. And we could have this growth of what we're here to do, which is to really have a different awareness and to create a different connection one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So that's amazing and so well said. I'm going to leave it just at that. So you did a beautiful job. That's what this is really all about, is loving and just expressing who we are as the unique individuals we are. So if you're here and don't know what your design is yet, or aren't sure what your decision-making strategy, or whether you have the trait 1 or not, you can visit our website and sign up for both this BG5 Live, the trait of the day. So you can get this in your inbox. It'll tell you what the background frequency is for the day that's impacting and affecting us all. And you can also get your free report. And we've got the full report is actually on sale right now, if you want to get the full report. And we've got past episodes of our BG5 Live in our free resource library too. And let's see, and our courses, we've got new foundation courses starting. I know lots of you that are here today are in Karen's foundation. So glad you could join us today. And those of you who aren't aware of it, check out our courses coming up in January. And we'll be promoting those through our newsletter in the next few weeks as well, to keep everybody aware of who's teaching when. So Foundation's a great place to dive into this and get to know yourself, not only knowing yourself, but being able to look at family and friends, and maybe even consider becoming a consultant yourself. If you're here now, it's no accident. If you're drawn to this information ahead of time before 2027 comes, you're here for a good reason. So check out our courses and programs. And I also recognized, I forgot that Lori had her hand up earlier, and wondered if while the rest of the panel are thinking about what to say, what we can pay attention to over the next week, while these two, well, trait one especially is really present with us. Lori, I'll just ask if there was something you wanted to add to the conversation we were having, or maybe even also you've always got wise words to wrap things up for what to pay attention to next week. I'll let you do that too, but let me promote you first. There you go. Oh. Okay, sorry, Lori. I'm not sure why, but I haven't been able to get you to pop up to panelist. You could maybe type something in the chat, and then I'll go to Karen's here. Karen, are you able to speak? Would you like to?
Oh my goodness. Yes. I don't know if you can hear me or not. This is
we can.
First of all, amazing job. And really everything about this BG5 Live speaks to that creativity in the moment. And so I really want to thank you, Shelley, for steering the ship, and thank you, Excel, and thank you everyone that contributed. I'm sorry, I'm actually on my phone now because my internet is not working for whatever reason. So it's really great to be able to listen to it unfold, to hear the creativity. And for this week, it's really taking a look at what direction are you going? And does your direction really fulfill your own creativity, your own self-expression? What is your true expression, and where have you been holding back? I love what Rebecca said too, is that creativity is, more than just the arts. Really the best and the most original creativity there is simply living exactly who you are and being who you are, allowing your design to do you, and fully living yourself is the most creative thing that we can possibly do. And so I think this is really a week to start to explore that and making sure that you're on the right path, going in the right direction. It feels, like I said at the beginning, like a crossroads, like a change in direction. And are you on the right path, or is there a part of that path or a new direction? Is there a split in the path where it's time to take another direction? I think it's calling for all of us on the planet to, in a sense, choose the path that we're on. And as Excel said many, many times, really learning to follow your decision-making strategy and allowing yourself to go exactly where you need to go is where really the magic unfolds. So thank you everyone for jumping in and being creative. I am so inspired by each and every one of you. And this is also what it is to work on team. And this is also where it's, not about the individual, and it is about the individual and each individual expression, and how each individual expression then contributes to the whole in a completely different way than it's been in the era of planning. So it's that individuality that each of you brought forth today that really contributed something very special to today's BG5 Live. So thank you so very much. So, things, there is no accident. And so this was just a beautiful example of how this all unfolded.
Oh, thanks so much, Karen, for summarizing all of that. It was great. And I'll go to Rebecca and see if there's anything more you'd like to add for what people could pay attention to over this next week.
Nothing to add today.
No, great. Well, thank you so much, like Karen said, for your contribution. And Lorraine, is there anything else you'd like to add for people what people could focus on this week?
Oh, this was a fantastic experience, everybody. Thank you for being so patient. But I think my greatest takeaway from all of this wonderful information discussed today is that creativity cannot be bound within words. It's an experience. It's not the artist. It's not right. It cannot be bound. It's perhaps something that doesn't even exist yet, right? It's creative, it's unique, there's this mysticism to it. So just allow yourself to be be who you are, find your empowering mantra. I am a creative, embodied, awake, beautiful being, right? And see what comes up for you. And like Karen said, decide the direction that you want to take things, because this is your moment, your time.
Wow.
Enjoy.
Beautiful, Lorraine. You made me cry. Thank you for that.
That's
And,
impact right there from
yes.
our initiator. So I love that Lorraine initiated us into that. And I do want to remind folks when we've entered into a new quarter of the year. This is the quarter of transformation. We have moved away from the quarter of bonding. So being individual is a job where you do alone. And when you are yourself, others will have the opportunity to witness you and to say, oh, she can do it, I can too. Or if he can do it, I can too. So having that permission to be yourself comes from doing that work alone. This is something that here we can share our experience, but really only you can become your own creative self. Only you know whether this works for you or it doesn't. And it doesn't matter if others understand what you're doing, approve of what you're doing, get what you're doing, because the only person you can do this for is yourself. And once you've done that, connecting with others that are doing the same creates something much bigger. And others might join you later and they might not. But this is the call. So if you feel ready, I know Lorraine did a great job initiating us. And thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much, Excel. That was a beautiful way to wrap all of that up. And thank you all so much for being here with us today. I'm really very moved. I'm afraid I might not be able to speak even. It's just such a beautiful way to really experience this creative force, knowing that we are all, each of us, a creative force of nature ourselves. And it's really becoming very clear how much we have been held back in the past and how much now is the time to be making this shift and this change, and that it's happening all around us anyhow. And if we're able to kind of just go with the flow of it and allow it to take us to the place where we will discover really the depths of who we are and really support us in coming to understand ourselves and being able to have access to this information for us to help other people really see themselves clearly and become aware of how they may have been conditioned, and to just start to be able to let that go and be the specific, unique, beautiful puzzle piece that each of us individually are. And I can't wait to see what we all create together once we're all living as our full, unique selves. I'm really excited about what's to come. So thank you all so much for being here today. And thank you for experiencing this with us, the creative power of nature in all its forms. And we will see you next week. Thanks so much, everybody.